What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Bryden Strider, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of playing a video game, we are going to explore a new trading card game that recently came out. One that I've been excited ever since they first announced it, like a year ago, maybe a little bit less. But it's finally out. I got a few items that we're going to go into. We're going to check out the cards, see how to play, all that. So stick around and let's check out some of Disney Lorcana. All right, everybody. So here we go. Just before we begin, though, I just want to say this is the first time I'm doing a video like this, opening stuff up and checking out the cards and everything. So just bear with me on if there's any issues that come along. But let's just dive on in. Disney Lorcana, like I mentioned, is a brand new trading card game based on Disney characters, as you can probably tell. It's made by Ravensburger, which I know them mostly as puzzles. They make a lot of famous, popular jigsaw puzzles, but they are now making this game, and it looks cool. And as much as I was excited about this game, I didn't really get to keep up with it as much as I would have liked. So I don't even know how to play the game. So we're going to try to figure that out as we go along too. So right now, the game is not in, your regular retail stores like Walmart, Target, those kind of places. Right now, you can actually just get it at local gaming stores. I don't think they come into retail stores until September the 1st, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think it's September the 1st. Yeah, so right now it's just local gaming stores. I went to my local gaming store called Mulligan Gaming Pub, which combines gaming with food, which is awesome. So that I'll leave their website in the description for this video if you want to check them out. So thanks to them. Thank you, Mulligan Gaming Pub. Thank you, Mulligan Gaming Pub. I appreciate it. And anyway, the items you can get for Disney Lorcana right now, there's 3 different starter decks. Then there is a box called the Trove, which is basically like an Elite Trainer box. If you play Pokemon, it comes with a few packs and some other goodies. And then there's the booster box that you can get. I did not get a booster box because it's a little bit on the expensive side, and I'm not that big of a YouTuber yet. Hopefully one day I'll get there. But I did pick up the starter decks and one of the troves. So let's start with the different starter decks. So first one here, got it free here. We got Cruella de Vil and Aladdin. So it's a cool little box. It's got some of the cards on there. The 2 character cards that are on the front of the box. The starter deck is of 60 cards, including 2 foil cards, 11 damage counters, 1 paper playmat, and 1 paper tracker token and game rules. Plus 1 booster pack of 12 randomized cards. Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize it came with a booster. So we'll even get some extra cards from these. That's pretty neat. With your Lorcana deck, you'll summon new versions of Disney characters as glimmersomes familiar and some fantastically reimagined. Send your characters on quest for lore or use them to challenge your opponent. So it looks like those are the list of sorry, still getting used to the different cameras. The list of different cards. I know it's not very clear, but we're going to go through the cards anyway. Now, on the side of the box here, it does look like there's different, I don't know, I want to say types because I've played a lot of Pokemon trading card game before, but you've got Emerald and Ruby, so that's kind of similar to Pokemon, at least for the games, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire. But those looks like there's types. The other ones have types too, so we'll take a look at that. But let's just go on in and open this up. Kind of looks like the best way to open it up is either from the top or the bottom. I don't want to ruin the box too much. So like I said, I'm super excited. I'm a really big Disney fan. I've been around Disney since I was a kid, watching the classics and just growing up on Disney. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so there's the empty box. These are damage counters, I'm assuming. So we've got -3, -1s, and then another little coin counter, something. I'm sure we'll figure out what that is. I'm going to put the cards to the side right now. Ooh, that's a cool pack. Elsa. Awesome. But let's put the cards to the side for right now and check out the playmat, I'm assuming. And this is kind of weird. So you've got a place for your deck, a discard pile, cards in play, something called Inkwell. I have no idea what that is. And then you've got lore 0 through 20. As you can see there, it goes all the way up to 20. Let me actually kind of in the way here a little bit. See if I can move myself. Get out of the way here, sorry. Alright. So yeah, that's the playmat. I flip it around. It's the same exact thing in reverse. So I wonder if just... I don't know. It's an interesting playmat. It's not like anything I've seen before. So that's the playmat there. Now let's check out these rules. Now this is the size of what I expected the playmat to be. But these are the rules. So that's a lot of rules there. So I'll just start off here. So Disney Lorcana trading card game. Quick start rules. As an Illumineer in the wondrous realm of Lorcana, you'll wield magical ink to summon new versions of Disney characters and items, which are called glimmers. These glimmers, some familiar, some fantastic, will help you as you race across Lorcana to find and collect missing pieces of lore. Endless quests await. What kind of game is this? Disney Lorcana is a strategy card game where each player makes their own deck before the game starts, and the decks aren't mixed together. You can play... The decks aren't mixed together? So do you not shuffle? Maybe that... Well, no, you probably do. Maybe that just means you're not both drawing from a single deck of cards. I know there's some games like that, I believe. And you kind of like just make your hand as you go. You can play with one of the available ready-to-play decks, make changes to those decks, or build a deck that's entirely your own. In a game like this, cards can allow you to do things that aren't normally a part of every turn. If a card's text ever contradicts the game rules, follow what the card says. Alright, so the cards trump the rules. About the game. In this game, you race to locate pieces of lore scattered across Lorcana and collect them for safekeeping. Summon glimmers of Disney characters and items along the way to help with quests, hinder your opponents, and challenge opposing characters with the right strategy. And a bit of luck, you can preserve your collected lore against future threats. There's a little QR code to learn to play. There are several ways to learn Lorcana. The best and most fun way to learn is have a friend teach you. Well, it just came out, and as of right now, I don't know anybody else that is playing this. You can also ask about Lorcana events, blah, blah, blah. Winning. Your goal is to be the first player to gain 20 or more lore. Some card abilities give you lore, but the most common way to gain it is by playing characters and sending them on quests. So we have the cards. Kind of try to keep it as centered as possible. So we've got character cards. You'll send character glimmers on quests and into challenges. Some have special abilities. Items. Item glimmers stay in play when you play them and give you special abilities during the game. Actions. Actions give you a one-time advantage and are then discarded. Songs. Songs are a type of action, and you can play one just like any other action by paying its cost and resolving its effect. But that's not your only option. Some characters can sing the song for you, so you don't have to pay the ink. So ink, I'm assuming, would be like energy in Pokemon or mana in Magic the Gathering. Yeah. Parts of the card. On all cards, cost, how much ink the card costs to play. Inkwell icon. Cards with the icon around the cost hexagon can be put into your inkwell to use as ink. The name, character's name. Classifications, categories sometimes referenced in card rules, such as the broom in the example of Mickey Mouse. Ink, this symbol and the colored band behind the card name indicate the card's ink type. Abilities and effects, the card's special rules. On actions, these are called effects. On characters and items, most abilities have a story-based name, especially common abilities instead use bolded keywords like rush in the example below. Rush, this character can challenge the turn they're played. So that's probably pretty familiar for most trading card game enthusiasts. Parts of a card. Ink key. There's amber, emerald, sapphire, amethyst, ruby, and steel. So different metals, basically, or ores, or whatever you want to call them. So this one, once again, had emerald and ruby. Only on character cards, there is strength, how much damage the character deals during a challenge. Willpower, how much damage it takes to banish the character from play. And lore value, how much lore you gain when the character quests. And then there's rarities. Common, rare, legendary, uncommon, super rare. I did not go in order. Common, uncommon, rare, super rare, and legendary. So that'll be cool. It looks like it's in the center of the bottom of the card. Setting up. Each player needs their own deck. You'll also need damage counters and a way to track how much lore you have. Both come with your starter deck. You shuffle your deck, set your lore tracker to 0. So I guess that's what the circle little icon, not icon, this here. Guessing that's what that's talking about. That's the tracker, lore tracker. You draw 7 cards for your starting hand. You can look at the cards in your hand, but not anyone else's hand. That's pretty standard. Alter your starting hand if you choose. Skip this step in your first game. Determine the first player by flipping a coin, rolling a die, or so on. So as far as altering your starting hand, before the game begins, each player can alter their starting hand one time, beginning with the first player. Usually a player does this if they don't have very many cards with inkwell icons, which almost looks like a vortex type icon. So yeah, if they don't have very many cards with inkwell icons on them, or if too many of their cards have a high cost. To do this, put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of the deck without revealing them, then draw cards until your hand has 7 cards again. Finally, reshuffle your deck. All right, so that's the setup and the different cards, the different aspects of the cards. So I'm assuming the actual instructions here. Yeah. So playing the game, a turn is divided into 2 parts. Each player takes their whole turn before passing the turn to the next player. On your turn, take these steps in order. Beginning phase. 1. Ready. Ready your exerted cards by turning them upright. 2. Set. Check for effects that happen at the start of your turn and follow their instructions. 3. Draw. Draw a card from the top of your deck. The first player skips this step on their first turn. So you ready your cards, and then check for any effects. That's pretty cool. Alright, main phase. Once per turn, you can put a card face down into your inkwell at any time. Additionally, you can take any actions listed below, any number of times, in any order you want. This allows you to take full advantage of what your cards can do in combination with other effects. Play a card, use a character ability that doesn't require them to exert, use an item ability, take an action with a character that's been in play since the start of your turn. These include quest, challenge an opponent's exerted character, use an ability that requires them to exert. So I'm assuming exerting might be like tapping in Magic the Gathering. Yeah, so if you look in the next box here, that's ready and that's exerted, so it's like tapping. Some game rules and card effects require you to exert, or I'm guessing that means ready a card in play, or tap. We'll say tap. To exert a card or tap, turn it sideways. Once a card is exerted, you can't exert it again until it's been readied by a game rule or card effect. To ready a card, simply turn it back upright. Remember to ready all your exerted cards at the beginning of your turn. So, your inkwell is where you'll put your ink cards face down. You'll use the cards in your inkwell to pay the cost of cards you play from your hand. You may put a card from your hand into your inkwell once each turn. The card you choose must have the inkwell icon around its cost in the upper left corner. The more ink cards you have, the more you'll be able to do. To put a card in your inkwell, show the card to your opponents and then put it face down into your inkwell as ink. Every card in your inkwell represents 1, no matter what's on the front. Choose wisely. Cards put in your inkwell stay there for the rest of the game. Once you put a card in your inkwell, nothing on the front matters, including its cost and ink type. It's simply ink. Playing a card. Playing a card just means taking it from your hand and putting it face up on the table. Okay. Each card has an ink cost and a hexagon in the upper left corner. To play the card, you must exert that many cards in your inkwell. When you play a character card, put it on the table above your inkwell. Characters enter play in the ready position, but you can't do anything with them until your next turn. You need to wait for their ink to dry. When you play an item card, put it on the table above your inkwell. Unlike characters, you can use items right away. When you play an action card, do what the card tells you to do, then put the card into your discard pile. Always put cards into your discard piles face up so everyone can see them. Songs are a kind of action card, but there's a special rule that gives you another way to pay for them. Each song says a character with cost X or more can tap to sing the song for free. If you have a character with the listed cost or higher, you can exert that character to play the song card instead of exerting cards in your inkwell to do it. Using this approach still counts as playing the card. Rules for when you can exert a character still apply, of course, so characters can't sing songs the same turn they come into play. Questing. To quest with one of your characters, exert them and gain lore equal to their lore value. Remember, you can't quest with a character the same turn you play them. Challenging. Questing is how you win the game, but sometimes you need to slow your opponents down. This is where challenging comes in. First, exert one of your characters to send them into the challenge. Then choose an opponent's exerted character to challenge. You can't challenge a ready character. Both characters in a challenge deal damage. Look at each other's strength and put that many damage counter on the other character. Characters damage each other in challenges, and some card effects deal damage as well. Whatever the source, damage counters stay on a character until the effect removes them or the character is banished. A character is banished when they have damage counters on them that reach or exceed their willpower. Put the character card into the player's discard pile. So, for an example of a challenge, Captain Hook is challenging Donald Duck. Here. Captain Hook has 3 strength and Donald Duck has 2. At the same time, Captain Hook deals 3 damage to Donald Duck, who gets 3 damage counters. Donald deals 2 damage to Hook. With only 3 willpower, Donald is in trouble because his damage is equal or greater than his willpower. Because his damage is equal or greater to his willpower, he is banished and goes to the discard pile. Hook wins the challenge. He needs to watch out, though. His own willpower is 4, so if he takes 2 more damage, he'll be banished too. Alright, so willpower is basically their health, and simple math will help you banish. Alright, using abilities. Many items and characters have abilities you can use during your turn and only during your turn. These normally affect other cards in play. Cards in a player's deck, discard, hand, or inkwell aren't in play, so they aren't affected by other cards unless the card says otherwise. If a card ability has a cost that appears before its effect, with the two separated by a dash. The cost might include an exert cost, an ink cost, text that explains the cost, or a combination of any of these. You must pay every part of an ability's cost in order to play the ability. A character with a particular ability can't be granted that ability again. Remember, you can't use the abilities of characters you played that turn. Example, Beast Mirror has the ability Show Me, which reads tap or exert with a ink cost of 3. If you have no cards in your hand, draw a card. On your turn, you may play this ability by exerting the card and paying 3 ink costs, or 3 ink, by exerting 3 cards in your ink well. Because the mirror is an item, you can even play its ability the same turn you played the card. Ending the game. The first player to reach 20 lore or more wins. If your deck runs out of cards, you lose the next time you would have to draw a card. So yeah, this is a lot of information to take in. So, turn order at a glance. Let's take a look at that. Beginning phase, you ready all your cards. 2, set, start of turn, effects happen, draw, you draw a card. Main phase, choose as many as you like except as noted in any order. In any order. Okay. Once a turn, you add a card to your inkwell, play a card, activate an item, play a character ability that doesn't require ink or exert cost. With a character that was in play during the set step, you can quest or challenge an exerted character or use an ability that requires exert cost. Okay, well, I'm going to have to read that all again at some point and really learn how to play off camera. And then I'll probably make a video after that, kind of once I get the hang of it and know what I'm doing. I'll make a video explaining more in depth how to play and showing you with actual cards. But the moment we've really all been waiting for is now here. We're going to actually go ahead and look at the cards